If I forget my spoon in Sainsbury's,
Yeah.
I can lick out a yogurt pot.
Fuck it, the full lot. Hi, Pop. That's a bit sort of.
It's a bit formal.
It's a bit weird, that, wasn't it? What we're
Yeah,
doing?
it's a bit game show.
I'm sort of trying to sort of like be all formal and sort of like.
You don't have to be
do you know what I mean?
formal with me. Don't rest on your laurels.
Do I? Can I sort of like?
You can
sort
kind
of
of
like
hang out. Yeah.
that
Oh, it's a
sort
bit
of-
70s Pimp Mac thing. I'd
just
be
need
scared.
a moustache. Got a hairy chest.
I'd
though.
be totally scared.
Yeah,
I'd be a bit.
But no,
worried.
it's a bit formal, so we'll just do it sort of nice and chilled out. But
Yeah.
we're here with Volta.
Yeah.
You've been here before.
I have been here before, and every time I come here, I get lost.
Oh, hello.
Big and halloumi.
Lovely.
Big and halloumi.
Beetroot and smoked feta and just going to get your flatbread for you.
See, now these
Well,
are all
thank you.
mine. What you having? Right. I come from a really big family, and I've got 6 sisters and 1 brother. Yeah, note the bread's on my side.
No, it's fine. You can have it. Trying to cut down on the old carbs.
I will share, because I'm good at that. So I've got 6 sisters and 1 brother, and we all were really used to sharing plates of things. But there's a science to it, right?
Do I have to get a protractor out?
Kind of.
What's the? Go on, talk me through the rules.
It's like just don't touch the bit where I'm eating,
Okay. Yeah.
because that bit's mine,
Okay.
and that bit's your bit.
All right, so we're sort of segmenting it and sort
Segment
of
it,
making
but
sure.
like mentally, like that plate is already in 8 pieces.
Back to
Where were we?
your DJing banter. Like,
Yeah.
did you just sort of like were you in a club and like some guy was like get involved back here and start doing stuff or what? Like, did you fall into
No,
it or did
the
you
first time-
want to do it?
The first time I ever DJ'd, it was pure accident. And I was working for Piccadilly Radio, and Chris Watmo, who was the music director of the station, there was some concert at the Boardwalk that night. And he went, oh, we need somebody to do something for the beginning.
Right.
Do you want to do it? And I'm like, I don't even know how to work the equipment. He said, look, just get some records from the record library, come to the Boardwalk, play some records, band goes on, everything's fine.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I had records
from the
at
record
home, but
library,
I got
like
them out of the
sound
record
effects.
library. And
BBC sound effects.
no, because, believe it or not, Piccadilly Radio Record Library actually had the full collection of Prince, so that's what I took.
yeah.
I took a load of Prince albums. I remember playing Raspberry Beret. I remember playing various other bits and pieces. I think I played bits of Michael Jackson, and that was my first ever thing. But it wasn't anything to write home about.
No. What? So you just did that one?
Yeah, just that
one
one
time.
thing. But at the time of doing it, I thought, oh, this is good.
You enjoyed it?
People are enjoying what I'm doing. Because I could tell people were enjoying what they were doing because they were dancing.
Where is
Like they
the boardwalk?
The Boardwalk, it's in that area where Gorilla is now.
Oh, right, under the arches.
Yeah,
there, so.
yeah, under the arches on that side. I bet you I'm completely wrong now, but as far as I remember, that's where it was.
It was a long time ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How long were you in France for then?
9 years
Bloody hell.
of absolute pure joy. I loved it. I loved it. Until the very end, I loved it. The end was a bit difficult for me because I wanted to change my music.
Yeah.
I kind of lost the taste for the parties that I was playing.
What sort of tunes were you?
Because when I was in
doing out
Paris,
there?
I was a real big room DJ. Before EDM came, all the people I was playing with were, I had Sebastian Ingrosso and Steve Angelo played at my birthday party. I was playing regularly with David Guetta, Bob Sinclair, Martin Solveig, so I was like that level of, and that style of music. And I'd done it for years and I was really successful. Some people might not like the music, but I was really good. I am and was really good at what I do. I probably spent 8 of those 9 years I was in France touring the whole of France non-stop. So I didn't really do the summer thing like going to Ibiza because France has its equivalent summer with the festivals in whether it's in Corsica or you know the south of France or you know they've got their summer, so it was a very insular 8 years
experience,
touring.
yeah, just all France.
And there was a moment I think I did a party in Annecy on the lake, and it was fantastic. It was a massive party, like thousands of people there. But I was playing the records and I felt like I hadn't changed the record and I'd put 4 different ones on.
Right, yeah, it's sort of getting a bit...
And I just had that moment where I was like, oh, this is all really formulaic and I'm just playing the same tune over and over again. And if I can't tell the difference, then how's anybody else telling the difference? Yeah. But it was the moment when I lost faith in the music.
Right.
And I just thought, this isn't for me. I just didn't want to play that music anymore.
There's no point, is there, doing something you don't want to
I couldn't do it.
You know,
I couldn't do it. There were a couple of people around me that really... Oh, sorry. Intrude. Kind of helped me get through it. But I got through it, and out the other side of it was poverty.
It's alright, you got a free meal here now, it's fine.
Well, I'm taking all this in a doggy bag.
Yeah, I saw you Tupperware in your bag,
Yeah,
it's okay. but right, so you finished France, right?
Yeah, I told them to go whatever.
And you come back here?
And I'd started to play deeper, and I thought, you know, I should go and investigate Ibiza for a bit. You know, maybe that will be the making of me.
What did you think of Ibiza?
I went to live in Ibiza for 2 and a bit years, and I had varied experiences of that. I did a couple of nights. I played with Duke Dumont at Eden, and you know there were a few nice things that made me feel like, oh, this could happen here. You know, I could get a little bit of something. But I wasn't working regularly enough, and I also was very aware in Ibiza, and people don't notice this because, you know, maybe just because they're not black, but there aren't any black people in Ibiza. There really aren't any black people, and the only black people that there are in Ibiza are the lucky men on the beach, the women that braid the hair, or the prostitutes. So when you're walking around that island, that's the suspicion that everyone views you with. So every time I was walking in a shop, I'd get followed like round Eroski or round whatever, and I'd be in boutiques and they'd be like on my back all the time. It's like, you don't have to follow me in a stupid shop that sells flip-flops at five euros a pair. But it was happening all the time.
You noticed it, yes.
And then I'd be applying for jobs and going to see people for work, and you can just see it. I mean, the age I am, you know when that is what it is. Yeah. And, you know, I was just being repeatedly told by people, oh, it doesn't matter what experience you've got before. Everybody starts from zero in Ibiza, so you're nothing here. You know, whoever you've DJ'd with, whatever clubs you've been in, whatever your background is, it counts for nothing here. Right? Okay. So I have to start from, and that's what I got all the time. It's just been basically made to feel irrelevant, and that my experience was irrelevant. That everywhere I'd been from the beginning, from the #1 club to the Hacienda to wherever, to Queen Club to, you know, I played at Cocoon, for God's sake. You know, it's like all of that meant nothing to all of the people that were putting the nights on. It's like, why?
Because we're Ibiza.
And I just didn't click with the people until I started working for Pikes,
Oh, yeah.
and they do actually have a very good record of employing black people. Pikes Manumission, they do. I think it's probably one of the only parties, really, Colin Peters, where people have come through in a good way, in a positive way. But all the other parties, like Pasha, no way. How many black people do you see DJing at Pasha? How many black people? I'm not being funny, but there's Carl Cox or there's no one.
Right.
So really there, even though you want to say it's not happening, and I'm not saying it's hard being black in the music industry, but you have to be really careful about how you say things and how you raise issues and opinions and complain. Yeah. But I'm just telling it like I see it. These are the opinions of me and not of the organisation for which I work. But it was either Carl Cox or no one in Ibiza. There weren't really any black people working for any of these big clubs other than him. And you get the guests coming in and out, and then you've got like Seth Troxler at DC10 and MK coming through at Pasha, but it's taken a long time for those guys to come through. There is no black music on that island. No. There isn't any, so for someone like me going, and when I play a pool party, I play like I do at the Refuge, or I play like I do at Schloss, and I'm playing funk, soul, hip hop, whatever takes my fancy. But I like songs, I like vocals, and I like soul. Yeah. That goes down like a fart in a lift in Ibiza. Like until the Melon Bomb Boys and the Glitterbox started coming through, where all of a sudden everyone suddenly likes disco. It's like I've been playing that for years. Yeah. No, that's what I was doing. These are the self-same records that I was playing. But it's cool now. Yeah. But it's cool because it's come through a whole other brand. It's come through a different, and it's come through a different avenue.
The one that they wanted it to, and they
it's not sour grapes, but it's just like that thing. It had to be repackaged for a certain market, and it couldn't be this way, it had to be that way. And I understand that about business. I worked for record labels for long enough, but there is a point where when you're a jobbing DJ and you're trying to get gigs left, right and centre, and you're being told no all the time, where you have to be realistic about why.
Oh yeah.
And that was why it didn't work.
It's not, it's not as if you're some newbie, who's just turned up and sort of thinks, everything's
and it's chancing it.
No, you've been working for 20
God
odd years.
knows how long. Shipping away.
Oh, and then they turn around and say it means nothing. I was going to ask you what it was like. Sort of being a woman and DJing and all that.
Yeah, because I am a real one, believe it or not.
You are a real woman, yes.
Yeah, although it's a funny story. When I was DJing at Flesh, I actually had someone pull my knickers out to look and check if I had it sellotape between my legs, or if I'm like, what do you think you're doing? Get off!
Get your fucking mitts off me.
Elbow in the eye. Right. And there is that confusion with me as well, because I am fairly androgynous about the way I present myself.
Paulette, you're clearly a woman. Obviously, I mean, like being a woman in sort of a predominant. I mean, it's a sort of male-heavy
it is, and
industry,
it still is. But I, in some ways, I think I've been very lucky because I'm a woman in the industry, because it's enabled me to stand out in lots of ways. Yeah. I think it worked better for me in Paris for those 8 years than it has anywhere else in the world. Right. Just because I really was the only one.
Okay, right.
I really was the only one for a very long time. I was the only one of that level who could cut it at that level and entertain 30,000 people in Bastille and not clear the floor. It was apparent to me while I was in Paris when I tried to get another agent. And I went to see a female booking agent, but she said, I don't take women on because I can't get more than €2,000 per gig for a woman and with men, I can start around 8. So I don't make money if I'm putting women out, but I get a lot more money. And to everyone, it's a business.
Yeah.
But then that in itself says why there aren't any, because when the agents are saying we can't take you on because we don't make any money off you, it's like, well,
it's like a
that's
circle,
why we don't do it. That's why people don't do it, because you can't actually get the work, because your agent is actually blocking it and saying, well, I don't make any money off you, but I'd rather book Arno Cost or Tristan Garner, or I don't know, whoever else it is, because I make more money off them. That's just the look of it, the unluck or the bad luck.
Sort of the other side of it,
on the business side of it.
There's not as many opportunities, perhaps.
No,
for
maybe more now so. But what's happened, as DJing has evolved, because when I started DJing, no one wanted to be a DJ. You were like one up from the cloakroom and one down from the bar staff. No one really cared about the DJ, did they? Nobody did. You just went to a club and you danced and you copped off, you stuck your tongue down somebody's throat for half an hour, had a bit of a slow dance to the erection section and went home. Like, nobody cared who played the records. And then there was a moment around 94, 95, 96 where it suddenly started to become important who was playing the records. And, in Manchester terms, you had Dave Haslam and Mike Pickering. Mike Pickering was in M People, so his career had done that. Dave Haslam and Graham Park at the Hacienda were gods at that time, and Sasha from Stoke, and all these things were happening. Leeds Back to Basics was, Dave Beer and all those people were coming through. So it was becoming like a cool thing to do. And we started bringing the Americans in, and Masters at Work, and David Morales, and Frankie Knuckles, and all of a sudden it became like a wow thing to go and hear a specific DJ play. Yeah. From it being just going to a party, you were going to hear a person play at that party.
Sort of like a concert,
and the mentality really changed. And then going into like your 2000s, it was Fatboy Slim, and
that all just
kicked off. And I really do think it did happen with him. But at the same time, there's no equivalent woman.
No.
There was never an equivalent woman to like a Fatboy Slim playing on Brighton Beach. There wasn't an equivalent. Why not? Gender pay gap shit happening there, big time.
Yeah.
There was not an equivalent woman, and I think only now, where you get Annie Mac with the Lost and Found Festival, and her brand is so powerful and so strong. But it's taken a long time for Annie Mac to come through and even be close to earning the same. But I will guarantee you, and this is like a wild stab in the dark, that she is not taking home the same pay packet that like your David Guetta or any of those big boys. I can guarantee you she's getting less. And that's, how did I go on that rant? Because I never really talk about it.
No, but you should, and people should talk about it. It's a massive issue. It's one of the biggest issues in society today, and it's not just DJing; it's everywhere, isn't it? It's like
so deeply platted into
society, really, isn't it? And
society, the DNA of society, that it's going to be a real test to unpick it, to get it out, sort it out. It's deep,
and it won't just. It doesn't.
And it's not going to happen overnight.
It takes time, doesn't it? It takes time for the people who do have those views and do promote that kind of stuff to die.
How do I work it? Do I?
And it should filter through.
Does it? Are you sure about that? Is that it?
Yeah.
I feel a bit stupid.
No. I think it just filters through.
Does it? Yeah. Okay.
It looks.
Yeah, it looks a bit like it looks tea now.
Yeah, with a white sort of background. Tell me about the what was it, Flash?
Yeah, I think I just had this awakening, like this coming to being of myself, where I was doing something finally that felt like me. I was playing music and I was enjoying doing what I was doing. I was on TV at the same time, so I was presenting this show on Granada called Juice, and that was going really well. And I was studying for my degree at Manchester Met, and that was going really well. So I'm doing 3 things together that were letting me be who I am, or who I knew myself to be, rather than this like housewife in short.
How someone wants you to be and expects you to be. So I suppose it's similar to your experience in France as well. You know, you get to a point where I had to be myself. Yeah,
I really had to be myself, and with Flesh, that's where I think that's where Paulette, DJ Paulette, was born. This whole person that stands out on stage and sings along and dances and encourages people to lip sync at the same time. That's where it came from.
Sort of taking a bit of dessert.
Yes, please.
Are you a I can't remember what she said that was, but
it's a chocolate and
some sort of chocolate
and
thing.
chocolate and cream thing, and that's mango and something.
It's got mint in it. That.
Yeah.
Really
Do you not like mint?
I really love mint.
Yeah. The non-smoking ban was at the beginning of everything changing for the worst in France, and certainly in terms of my career.
They love to puff in France, don't they?
Because we didn't. When it happened, I think it was 2010, and I was a resident at Mixed Club, and we hadn't taken it seriously. The management hadn't taken it seriously, and they'd been told, every club had been told that they had to make a dedicated space for smokers. Yeah. And literally overnight, or within the first 2 weeks of this really horrible winter, and them not having the smoking room sorted, we lost 50% of our clientele like that, because they couldn't smoke in the club. They had to be really strict on policing it inside the club and making people go outside, and then they're going outside and it's driving rain or it's freezing cold or it's snowing, and they just go home.
Go on, wouldn't you? Yeah.
And it's the most depressing thing as a DJ. First of all, you couldn't actually get going anymore because you had the waves of people going in and out and in and out, and you couldn't catch the vibe properly anymore. Like, that was the first thing. Creatively, it was a bit of a nightmare, adjusting your set and adjusting your mindset to realise that when people were going out, it wasn't that you were playing a record they didn't like. It didn't mean that you had to amp it up because they were just going for a cigarette.
I mean, do you think that was the sort of? Do you think that has been?
It was a massive
one of the
point.
final nail in the coffin
absolutely
for clubs, or because you hear about it all nowadays. Like, young people aren't going clubbing anymore, or nowhere near as much as.
No, but for lots of different reasons as well. Because I like that one.
It's good, that one, wasn't it? The mint,
so
the mint really
nearly took the pattern off the. Oh, I did. Take the pattern off the club. No, I think lots of different reasons. That was one of the reasons why people stopped going clubbing. It became suddenly very expensive.
Yeah.
A lot more expensive.
Yeah, you're paying to get in, and then you're paying for bevies as well.
And you can't smoke, and you're feeling like watched. And when people are feeling watched, then it's like, where can we go to have a good time where we're not feeling this pressure of. So all of a sudden it's better to go to events and happenings and experiences where it's outside, where people aren't stopping you from smoking. So all of a sudden the festivals become a lot more popular because you can do what you like at a festival. No one's watching what you do.
No. And they are, you're right, they are, a festival is a big.
And there's so much
club,
more
really,
happening.
Yeah.
The way clubs and VIP clubs are run.
It's completely changed, hasn't it? And it's something, you know, I'm never going to be into that sort of bottle service and spending shitloads of money. And
that you're not going to drink. That you're just going to.
Just to sort of show it
waste by getting 6 bottles of Cristal and do that all over the dance floor, which is, I detest that. If you were going to buy a good bottle of champagne Drink it.
Get it drunk.
Drink it. Why are you throwing it on
some.
the floor?
Give me some. Oh, I'm sat here stealing drink. I'm here minesweeping and you're throwing it on the floor.
Throwing it on the floor. And I just, pardon me, regularly saw that in the club of people just spending money like that and just pouring it on the floor.
I suppose like places like you're at the moment in Manchester, that's the complete opposite. Yeah, isn't it? It's the complete opposite of that, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
But then, you know, the joy of coming back here is that people actually listen to the music. Yeah. People actually go out to listen to the music and you know, have a drink and drink a drink and meet new people and not spend all night sat behind a velvet rope and doing nothing. And that's how I go clubbing. So yeah. I figured it out.
Yeah, shit.
Alright, Steve, you ready?
That's how you do it, isn't it? What's this? What is it? Black Riot record that I've been looking at.
Finally, I have made something that I'm proud of and can talk about, and that hasn't hit the cutting room floor, and has been released. Me and Chris Massey have made a massive acid house bubbler EP, which is great.
I was listening to it before before I came here today.
It's a funny one because, you know, like I say, people hear me playing one thing or another, so they don't really know how to take it. But for some reason, it's okay for someone like Derek Carter to play disco and tech.
Something different.
And it's okay for Seth Troxler to play two things. But for me, people can't get their head around it. It's like, what's the difference? What's the difference? If I play disco one time or if I play techno another time, it's still, you know, it's still me. But for some reason, it's.
Are they your lyrics on that you singing?
Yeah, that's me singing not singing, speaking.
Sort of, yeah, it's like
how would you say speaking and singing?
Spinging.
Yeah, I'm spinging.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I did all the spinging. Because it is in tune, you'll notice that it's done in true spoken. It's done in true spoken word style where the actual vocal is in tune with the track.
Yeah, brilliant. No, it's good.
Yes.
But I mean, I think that's probably. I mean, they're probably sick and tired of us by now in here.
Yeah, I know.
But,
closing up. Sweeping us out with the rubbish.
But like, it's been lovely chatting to you. How was the food? All right?
I loved it. The food was marvellous.
It was good. Wasn't it? That lamb was really nice.
Lamb. Do you know what? I don't actually remember eating all the food that we ate.
What?
And I'd like to order again. Please.
Okay, really.
Whole thing.
I'm sure. Yeah, not on camera, so we can get a bit mucky, get a bit dirty,
just
sort of
get involved.
it.
I just need to like really. Those lamb things were so tender. You just
like
need to shove your face in it now.
Right. Well.
That's it.
Brilliant. Lovely. Is that a little?
Yeah. That's a clapper.
Excellent. Yeah. Thanks. Sorted.